Oh, yeah. Now, that is the kind of music that I'd like to hear on the week where early voting begins across the state of Texas. And we are talking early voting today. Remember, it starts on Tuesday, and I am going to be one of the very first in line to vote at 8 a.m. This is Ysidro Gutierrez, the most objective Hispanic on radio in Lubbock County. And visiting with us today is candidate for U.S. Senator, Mr. Dwayne Stovall. And Mr. Stovall's on the line. Welcome to the Did You Know Show, Mr. Stovall.
Hey, it's good to be here, Ysidro.
Wonderful. Let me just take a minute to set this conversation up, all right? First off, you've got 1,100 volunteer workers working for you around Texas. What that means to me is that you have a very good chance of unseating the incumbent. And as far as I can tell, you're the only one who has this type of a chance. You have come out first in 9 of the straw polls that have been conducted, and you have received dozens of Tea Party endorsements here in Texas. All righty, Mr. Stovall, I want you to tell us where you got that brilliant idea of doing a commercial with Major. So go ahead. Tell us why voters should vote for you.
Well, it's funny. You know, you're really the first person I've been interviewed about this on, and I'm going to give you the backstory to it so you'll totally understand that we brought in a film crew 2 or 3 weeks ago to do some PSAs, a commercial, a few different shots, and this was a script offered up to me by my campaign manager and the director, and I didn't like it. I told them it's not my style. That's not the way I do business, and they begged me to do it. Well, the verbiage at the beginning is mine. The reference to the turtle, and that was all added in there. And
hey, by the way, you're going to have to apologize to the turtles for comparing them to McConnell. Yes, sir.
Well, just so I'm crystal clear and everybody understands that's not my personality per se. I don't necessarily go that way ever.
But it turned out to pay big dividends for you because it got you all kinds of attention.
It turned out to be prophetic because the other day when we had the flip-flop on the cloture vote and the push through of the new budget creating another $1 trillion in debt, I had a visceral reaction to it. I was so ticked that I said, let's do this. It's time to get that out, and we got it out. I told them it would never see the light of day, and then they did that the other day, which is quite clearly just enslaving us in future generations and chains of debt.
Sure. Well, Mr. Stovall, I'm going to tell you something, that the people up here in West Texas are ticked about that $1 trillion increase in the debt as well. So,
and they should be. And they should be. Every Texan should be up in arms about that. I mean, we should just be beside ourselves. That federal government does not answer to us, and all it does is preserve itself. It has nothing to do with preserving our liberties and our freedom and trying to protect us in our long-term vision for freedom. They don't do any of that.
All righty, tell us why people should vote for you. But you got my vote. I'm going to tell you right now that I'm voting for you on Tuesday. But I want you to ask the listeners why they should vote for you.
There are a number of things I bring to the table. Let's put this way, there's a number of things I don't bring to the table. I have no political affiliations whatsoever. I'm not aligned with any groups. There's no built-in, groomed, developed political attributes to me. I'm strictly a native Texan who's worked all my life, who has a very, very clear understanding of the constitutional duties of a U.S. Senator. I have a very clear understanding of that. That's something that we can talk about in a minute. But my loyalties are strictly with the state of Texas. And anybody who understands the U.S. Senator's role, they are supposed to protect their state. And that's something that our senators historically have gotten away from. They generally do things like vote to increase the debt or vote to increase the size and scope of the federal government or vote to give it unconstitutional powers, all at the expense of the state. And that's the exact opposite of what they were designed to do. And I just want to be the citizen statesman that I've looked for all my life. I've wanted to vote on a fellow Texan. I didn't want to vote on a politician. And I haven't seen one ever, and I just had a bit of a little self-prayer.
I'm gonna tell you that the one thing that grabbed my attention when I first heard about your campaign was the citizen statement portion of your platform. That really, and I wonder if the 1,100 volunteers that you have working for you across the state might have responded because of that citizen statement representing Texas above Washington aspect of your platform.
they respond, and this is my take on it, because I don't know each of them individually. I'm honored by them all. They humble me significantly. I'm just floored that I have that much support across the state. But my position is they came to help because they believe exactly the way I believe, that they are sick and tired of having groomed, developed, processed, politically aligned individuals marched in front of them by the establishment saying, here, this is the guy you have to vote for, and he represents conservatism. When we all know that we haven't had a conservative, until Ted Cruz hit, we haven't had real true conservatism coming out of Texas in many different ways for a long, long time. So they want principles. They want someone who's willing to say, no, we're not going to do that anymore, and mean it. And that's exactly where I come from.
I want you to, since our time is going to be up shortly, I want you to mention your webpage and then continue with your Vote for Me speech.
It's Texans for Stovall. For anybody who hasn't been there already, it's Texans for Stovall. I've got the best campaign, as Ysidro was saying, I've got the largest campaign in the state, bar none. There's not another one like it, another one close to it. Our number of volunteers just blows everybody else out of the water. Texans for Stovall, you can go there, you can find out more about me in detail, and you can get involved. It'll take you to Putting Texas First. That's our volunteer portal where we can get all of our volunteers to coalesce and get behind different messaging. It's easy for us to communicate. They can donate. We definitely need donations. We will not be getting support from establishment, big moneyed interests that just don't come towards grassroots. But I'm so well endorsed and so well supported by grassroots groups across the state of Texas that, we just got to cross our fingers and hope that Texans are communicating a lot and circumventing the message machine that keeps being laid on us. So.
One of the things I read about you in one of the, I guess it was one of the large metropolitan newspapers, is that you have dozens of Tea Party endorsements, and we only got 1 minute in this segment. So tell us about your Tea Party endorsements.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've got Grassroots America, We the People. I've got Tea Party 9/11. I've got individual groups across the state. I want you got to answer them all. If I miss one, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
It's
forgivable.
Kaufman,
Yeah.
Cass, Kaufman, Alvin, Pearland, Tri-County, Clear Lake, Lake Jackson, Wichita, Llano. Oh, you're going to get me in trouble.
Well, no. You forgot one. You forgot an important one. The Did You Know show in Lubbock, Texas, also.
Oh. Hey, we got to post that.
Yes, sir. But anyway, we got to go to break. I want to thank you for calling in, and good luck to you. And I think that you are the only candidate that has a chance of unseating the incumbent. Thank you for your call. We'll be back with our listeners after this commercial break and continue with the Did You Know show.